Intensity drops away, and obviously we weren't able to maintain some of the disciplines that we had to our structures for the first 3 quarters. They started winning their hands on the ball a little bit, couldn't get it back off them. That's what the good sides do. They were able to maintain it for that period of time. So, so we're obviously sort of plugging the damn wall a little bit towards the end. On the other side, I sort of thought coming into the game, we actually thought that this would be a fair benchmark game for us, and I think we got a fair indication on that. I think we've got, as I've seen, there's some genuine things to like about the group. Brownie didn't share on the scorers yet. We're in touch and in front of probably the side that's been on top of the ladder for, 14 out of 16 weeks. But, the next level is being able to maintain that whole intensity for 120 minutes, and that's the consistency you need to be able to beat a side of that calibre where they think their way through it, a few mature bodies at the right times, and they did that a little bit better than us. So, in a snapshot, that's what's pretty good. So, that's a style of footy that we've got to be able to replicate week on week, but it's the consistency of being able to do it over and over again.
But were you pleased, Vossi, because it all fell apart just before half time, I think, too, for about 10 minutes or something, or maybe even 5, and they got right into it, and you were able to reverse it again, like in the past, once it's sort of fallen over, it stayed over. But were you pleased with the way?
Yeah, I walk away getting a good idea of where our group's at in some ways. Like it's, we had some holes, no doubt, but there was a want for the contest, and and when it was sort of thrown back at us in the second quarter, they tried to get their run going again, an overlap run, and we thought our way through that. We were able to still impact the scoreboard. During the third quarter, we were obviously able to do the same. And then, last quarter, they just sort of upped it again, and we just couldn't hold it for that long. So, and that's where you sort of give absolute kudos to the opposition, because they've done that over and over again. We are a side that's hoping to be like that over, years to come. So, but there was certainly a lot to like, and more players are starting to join in more often throughout a game, as opposed to being isolated and have 5 or 6 played well, and 12 that have made no contribution. I thought a lot made pretty strong contributions today.
What's wrong with Brownie?
Well, early X-rays on his jaw is okay, so other than having a sore head, someone's got to tell him he's not 21 anymore. So, unbelievable. I mean, when you're led by that bloke, it's no wonder the guys want to come to the well, and he gets them up all the time. Now we've got to get him up. So he's unbelievably courageous. But I thought that was the approach largely that we had. He wasn't having a great day, Brownie, but it was like most of the other guys. I think that they just realised the role they had to play. It was going to be a tough day for him. He had defence that was swarming around him, but he just kept bringing the ball to ground, and he just did it once too often at the wrong time and ended up hurting himself. So we obviously all hope that he's okay.
So he's had a scan, has he? Or?
Yeah, he's been off to the PA, I think. So he's had a scan straight away. So obviously we can check on that jaw.
Did he get knocked out?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. So he looked a bit groggy, but I'm only speculating. All I know is the X-rays have come up clear at this so far. So let's hope that he's okay.
You say, sort of, I guess, a bit light-hearted. Someone's telling him he's not 21. Do you have to, given these importance of this group, do you ever tell him to sort of take the foot off the pedal a bit, or just is that even possible?
It's hard for a coach to tell someone instead of going 120%, go 110. No, that's just the competitor, and that's what you live in, because as soon as you self-doubt that's probably when you're about gone. So, and he'll never be like that. So, he's always maintained that character about him, and that's why he leads from the front. So, and we've got some others that are joining in, so which is really pleasing to see. And got a lot out of the game, but at the same time, I think we've got a fairly accurate picture. We've got the capability there, but the sustainability to be able to do that across a whole game is just not there at the moment. So still things to work towards, but a lot closer to the style that we're after.
Mitch Clark was also involved in that same instance. The leg, is he okay? Is it just knocks the leg?
Yeah, it's a knock at the moment, Brownie. It's a corky. I keep saying this, but I really hate Mondays, Brownie. So these scans, they're kidding. So I've just been holding off. So I won't report the actual, but at this point in time, it's a corky, all right? So,
what did you think when you saw the bodies everywhere? Your initial thought when Brown he wasn't moving?
Look, as much as you take a snapshot and you hope that the guys are okay, you've got to try and set a plan in place for the group. So your head switches straight into who is hurt and who's not likely to come back, and what have we got to do to try and get around it. So, yeah, we weren't able to get through that.
Was it frustrating? You always say, I've heard you say it before, you put your 22 against their 22, but certain blokes today, Pods would never have kicked 8 if Merritt was playing, or unlike it was one of those, you could have pinched one.
Yeah.
And Staker first game back, and Hawkins is a big body, and
Yeah. Well, a little bit. We've got guys that have been underdone, but Goose is going to have to live with it. He played an absolutely horror game. He had a shocker, and everyone's been at that point where you have an absolute horror. You're more admired when you bounce back, and we need him to bounce back. And that's going to be one that he'll read in the papers and be one that'll be talked about all week. But the fact is, he had a shocker, but we need him. He's important to us, and we've got to get him back straight up, ready for the next contest next week. And it's probably likely to be Petrie at this point in time. So that's the frame of mind we need him in.
Do you think you got enough advantage out of Leuenberger's dominance, because he seemed to be getting first hands, but you weren't? I don't know what the numbers were.
No, late was we didn't, but I thought generally across the game we were more than largely competitive in that area. Yeah, it doesn't always marry up the whole total hitouts. You like hitouts to advantage, but it doesn't always marry up that way. And as our relationships start to grow around that area, it'll get stronger and stronger. I keep thinking back to almost like the Sandilands, Fremantle a couple of years ago. They just couldn't quite get that marry up between the ruck and the rover. They've certainly sorted it out. So, a couple of years of these guys being together and emerging midfield like what we've got, they're going to grow relationships and understanding, and that just innate movement that you have by just a nod and a wink, and they'll grow that over a period of time, especially when they should have so much confidence in their ruckman going forward.
We wouldn't be forgiven by the Lions supporters if we didn't ask about the umpiring today in some respects. Did you feel there was a change interpretation of holding the ball rule today? A prior opportunity? Because also the crowd's not happy. I mean, you obviously saw that.
It's hard going. I mean, you always, as a losing coach, you don't make excuses. But I tell you what, when you've got 22 blokes who've gone to war, we'll be certainly looking for some explanation. Absolutely. 22 blokes gone into war there, they deserve an explanation, surely. The advantage rule, they just need to get rid of it. It's got to have another form.
You talked about the one with Redden in the...
I can't remember each one, but there's a few of them, Hamo, so I can't isolate them at the moment.
It's expensive anyway.
Yeah, I don't know whether I want to be a pocket lighter.